For joining us today on our phone.com webinar. We're going to be talking about advanced schedule setups for your business hours. My name is Derek Lewis and I'll be your presenter today, and I'm currently a customer service representative at phone.com. And just to give you guys an overview of what we'll be covering in this advanced setup, I'm basically going to go through a bunch of scenarios that I've created that I think would be applicable to your guys' setup. The first one is adding a set of schedules with a multiple set of menus. The next is adding queues with schedules. Then we'll dive into extension-specific scheduling. And lastly, I'm going to show you how to set daily custom schedules that you can set for forwarding to multiple people throughout a specific hour of the day. And of course, we'll have a nice Q&A to wrap things up. If you guys do have any questions, there's a chat tab on the GoToWebinar dashboard. You can certainly enter those in, and I'd be happy to answer those for you. Just before we get started, I'm going to send out a quick poll. I know I branded this as an advanced webinar, but I just want to get an idea of if everybody has used this feature before or not. So if you could answer that, that would be appreciated. Okay, interesting. So about 82% of you have not used our scheduling feature, so that is very good for me to know. I think I will start this webinar with a brief introduction to the feature for those of you that have not used it before, so we can both get on the same playing field, and then I'll go ahead and dive into the more advanced setup. So before I even get started with any of the advanced topics, let me log into the interface here so I can give you guys a quick tour of how this is going to go. So I'm going to get logged into my account. So anytime that you add a schedule or manage a schedule on your account, you're going to be under the Configure tab. In most cases, you'll be under the Manage Schedule section, which is what we'll be going back to time and time again today. Just to make a schedule, I'm going to do a very basic one to give you the ropes here. So let's say this is a main hours schedule. If I could type. Okay, main hours schedule. The three methods for setting your schedule hours, there's daily, and this is going to set your hours for Monday through Sunday. If you do weekday, weekend, this will set your schedule hours for Monday through Friday for weekday, and then Saturday and Sunday for weekend. You can toggle these on and off, and that means you won't get any calls, and if you toggle them, of course, you'll get calls. The last option is custom. If you choose that, you can set a unique set of hours for every single day of the week. So I could toggle Monday through Friday. And then to set the actual hours, you go and slide these two bars. And basically the dark gray area between the two bars is the time that your schedule is going to be activated for. So just an example, Monday here, anytime before 5:45 a.m. and after 3:45 p.m., my business is considered closed and I won't get any calls during that time. Let's see, one more thing, holidays and date ranges. If you guys need to make exceptions to your schedule, you can select yes for that. You can choose a major holiday here. So we have Thanksgiving coming up next week. I can choose that. I can choose add, and that's going to add it to my exceptions. And then I can set the specific hours that I don't want to receive calls for on Thanksgiving. If you want to do a specific date range, let's say tomorrow I have a company meeting, I can make an exception for November 21st. I can end it on the 21st and then click add. And then I can set the specific hours that I do not want to receive a call for on that day. So anytime you want to make changes to your schedule, let me go ahead and save this. This is going to throw you on the Manage Schedules page. So before we're done today, we'll have several schedules sitting on this menu. You can go here by Configure and Manage Schedules. And then you just click on the edit box for the schedule you want to edit. And you can edit the hours directly on this page and just save your changes and it'll automatically take effect. So let's dive into the first scenario that I wanted to show you guys, which is using schedules with multiple menus. So in this scenario, what I've created is I have two menus for my business. I have a main business menu, and then I have an after hours menu, which is going to give a different set of instructions if the caller calls outside of those business hours. So what I need for this is one schedule. Make it as simple as possible. We'll do a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And then any hours outside of those hours, we're going to go immediately to our after hours menu. So let me get in the interface here. For those of you not familiar with menus, this probably isn't the best webinar to cover the details, but I will show you what I've created so far. Menus are managed under the Manage Menus page under the Configure tab. So if I click that, you can see I have a main menu with a main menu greeting set, and then I have an after hours menu with an after hours greeting set. Just to give you a quick tour, I can go into the edit settings here. You can see I have all my forwarding set up for each menu. Numbers 1 to 9 are all configurable, as are 0, pound, and no input. So I have both of those. They're already set up and good to go. And so now I need to make a schedule for my main business hours. So I'm going to go to Configure, and I'm going to choose Add a Schedule. And we'll call ours main, or we'll call ours, let's do daily hours, M through F from Monday through Friday. So to keep this one, let's keep this one simple. Let's do a weekday weekend setup, and we'll toggle weekday. And then I'm going to slide the gray bars here between 9 and 5, Monday through Friday. I don't want any holidays or date ranges checked, so I'm just going to choose no. I'll choose my time zone as Pacific, and I'm going to save that out. So once your schedule is made, you then need to apply it to your call handling rules. And so in order to do that, we need to go into our phone number settings. So I'm going to access that under the Configure tab, and I'm going to choose Manage Numbers. And you can see here I have 3 numbers on my account. I want my menu to forward from my 800 number, so we're going to choose the edit box for that. And then on number action, I'm going to choose Edit, and that's going to get me into my forwarding settings for my number. Okay, so to apply a schedule on your call handling rules, you change all calls to receive during, and that's going to prompt you to choose a schedule in the drop-down box. So I'm going to go ahead and choose my daily hours Monday through Friday schedule. And then what I need to set in this first rule section is what happens during those business hours. So in this case, I want to go to my menu, and I want to go to my main business menu that I've created. So that's going to send all calls during business hours to my main menu. And so in order to make calls go to my after hours menu, I need a second rule right below my first. So I'm going to choose Add New Rule. And I'm going to leave this one as all calls because I want all calls to be all calls outside of my set schedule hours of 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And I want all outside calls of that to go to my after hours menu. So what it's going to do is somebody calls in, it's going to first check if they're calling during the set schedule hours that I've created up here. If that's true, they'll go to my main menu. Otherwise, if that's false, they'll go to the all calls section, and they'll go immediately to my after hours menu. And I'll just leave that up for a brief moment if you guys want to take a screenshot or write that down. And you can certainly expand upon this. You can add more schedules, kind of layer it if you need multiple main menus. But this is a good template to start with. Okay, I'm going to save that. So that was our first scenario. The next one I want to move on to is, so let's go ahead and set those two up. So just to show you real quick, all of your queues are managed under the Configure tab and Manage Queues. You can see here I have a sales team morning and a sales team evening. If I go into the edit settings for one of these, just to show you what it looks like, you can see here that I'm forwarding to 3 different members in this queue. They all have their own separate cell phone number. It's going to ring each member for 20 seconds for a maximum hold time of 5 minutes. And then it'll do whatever is set next in the call handling rules. Okay, so let's make some schedules for these 2 queues. So I'm going to go to Configure again. I'll choose Add a Schedule. And let's call this one AM Sales Queue. I'm going to do weekday weekend again. and only check weekday. And so my AM team is only going to work until, let's say, 11:30, and they'll start at 6 a.m. So very basic, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. I'm going to save that one out. And then I need to add a second schedule for my PM hours. So I'll do add new schedule again, and then I'll do PM sales queue. I'm going to do weekday, weekend again, and I'll choose weekday. And so this one, it's very important to not have schedule hours overlapping. So I need to make this one exactly starting at 11:30, like the one I ended at 11:30, and then I can pull these hours, let's say, until 5 p.m. for the PM team. And we'll choose the exact same time zone so nothing gets mixed up, and we'll save changes. Okay, so now that we have our two schedules, we have our two queues, and now we're going to go ahead and activate both of those on the call handling rules. So again, we'll go to configure, and we'll go to manage numbers, and I will configure my 858 local number for this one. So I'll choose edit, and then I'll do edit again for number action. Okay, so it's a very similar process to our menu setup. We're just going to add an extra layer of rules. So it's best to start with the first schedule that you're applying. So we're going to do receive during, and we'll do our AM sales queue schedule hours. And then during our AM hours, we want to forward calls immediately to our queue, and we're going to choose sales team morning. The one thing with queues is that you need to specify what happens if nobody answers in the queue and the hold time expires. So in that particular situation, I want calls going immediately to voicemail. So I'm going to add a leave voicemail action at the end of my queue wait time. So that's the AM sales queue. It's the exact same thing for the PM sales queue in a different rule section. So we're going to choose add new rule. We're going to change all calls to receive during, and instead of AM sales queue, we're going to choose PM sales queue. And from there, we can go to queue, choose the sales team morning queue that we've created. And again, if nobody answers, we're going to divert all those calls directly to the main extension inbox. So the last and final step here is the all calls section. So we need to add a third and final rule for all calls. And of course, this is completely outside both the AM and PM hours of your schedule. And we're just going to say, let's have those go directly to your voicemail to keep things easy. So that's a layered schedule set up with queues. I'm going to leave that one up as well for you guys if you want to take a screenshot. Okay, I'm going to save that, and let's cruise on to the next scenario. All right, so next one that we have is setting schedules within a particular user's extension. My particular scenario for this is that I am the administrator for my account, but my employees have a bunch of their own extensions. I want to be able to allow them to set their own business hours, so I don't have to personally manage it. So what this means is that a user can log in directly to their extension. They can set their own schedule, apply that schedule to their call forwarding. And so let's say if they're out of the office one day, they can forward calls to their cell phone if they're not at their desk phone. So for this, we're not going to go to the Manage Schedules tab. We're going to go first to the Manage Users and Extensions page. And this gives us a great breakdown of all the extensions on our account. Let's go ahead and use extension 503. So I'll choose Edit for extension 503 to get into the extension specific settings. And then under the Settings tab, if this doesn't expand for you guys, just click it and it should bring up all these options. But if you click Schedules, it's basically going to bring up the exact same interface that is found when you go to Configure and add a schedule. It's specific to this specific extension and it can't be accessed anywhere else. So we'll choose Add Schedule here, and we'll call ours Derek's Business Hours. We'll do weekday, weekend, And I'm going to work on weekdays, let's say from 9 to 5, or as close as I can get it to that. And let's say sometimes I work on the weekends for a few hours, so we'll say from 12 to 4. And I will leave my holiday set as no. I'm going to leave my time zone set as Pacific, and I'm going to save that. So this schedule, again, is only going to be accessible on extension 503, Derek's business hours. It's not going to be seen elsewhere on the account, so it's really handy. So nobody else gets mixed up with your hours. So now that my schedule is set on my extension, I can then set my call handling rules. So I'll choose call handling rules on the left here under settings. And let me delete all these to get a fresh start. Oh, sorry, let me save that real quick. Okay, so I want to apply my calls. I use a communicator soft phone on a daily basis on my Mac when I'm in the office. So I'm going to do receive during, and I'm going to choose Derek's business hours. And you can see it categorizes it under my schedules. So from here, I want to forward all calls directly to my communicator. So I'm going to choose forward call, and I'm going to check the box for my communicator. And if I don't happen to answer a call, I can have all calls left on a voicemail on my phone.com account. So that's applying my schedule within the extension. And then of course I need another rule for what happens outside of my business hours. So when I'm not in the office, I'm going to choose add new rule here. Instead of forwarding calls directly to voicemail, I actually want to get a call on my cell phone as I'm on call during the day. So I'm going to choose change select operation. I'm going to change it to forward call. I'm going to make sure that I leave my communicator unchecked and just enter my personal cell phone number in here. And of course, if I can't answer, I still want it going to the same voicemail box that I can check. Okay, so that was applying schedules within an extension. I'll leave this one up for a brief moment. I'm going to save it for your own personal templates. And again, these are great for employees. They can, they can make their own schedules. You don't need to manage it for them. For those of you that don't know how to access extension specific logins, let me know, and I do have a guide that I can link you, and that'll explain how to get all that set up for you. All right, let me save that out here. And let's move on to our final setup scenario. We have daily custom schedules. These get really advanced. My scenario that I created here is that I have multiple schedules. In this specific case, I'm going to make one schedule. I'm going to isolate it to Monday, so one day of the week, just to give you guys an idea of how it would work. And then you can certainly expand that to all of the days of the week in your situation. In this particular case, I'm going to have 3 sets of hours. I'm going to have an 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., a 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., and a 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. So my goal in these schedules is to basically forward to 3 different sets of people, depending on 3 different sets of specific hours. So you can get really flexible with this. So let's go into our add a schedule page. And I'm going to call this Monday 8A to 12P. So for this, you're going to want to use the custom tab. And in my particular case, I want to choose Monday. And I want to slide this one to 12 o'clock. And get the beginning one to 8 o'clock. Okay, so that's schedule number 1. Choose Pacific as the time zone. So this one's done. I need 2 more. So I now need another one. I'm going to do add new schedule. I'm going to do Monday 12P to 4P. I'm going to choose custom again, and I'll do Monday again. And let me get these in place real quick. There's 4 o'clock. And whoop. Sorry, these bars are really sensitive. Okay, 4 to 12, or 12 to 4. So that's number 2, that's done. Third and final schedule is 4 to 7. So I'm going to do one final schedule, and I'm going to call this one Monday, 4p to 7p to finish this up. So I'm going to do custom one more time. I'll do Monday again, and I'm going to slide this one to 7, and this one to 4. Okay, so all of our schedule hours are now applied. I'm going to save this one out. And again, just to caution you guys, make sure your scheduled hours never overlap. Otherwise, the system will get entirely confused and it won't know what to do. So have caution with that setup. Okay, we're now going to apply these schedules to our call handling rules. So we'll go to Configure, and we'll go to Manage Numbers. And let's work on our 800 number here. I'll delete all the settings. I'm sure you guys have seen this enough, so I don't need to repeat. Edit on number action, of course, to get to the forwarding. So let me delete everything here, and we'll get a nice clean slate. Okay, so let's apply the first schedule, which is 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. So I'm going to do receive during, and then I'm going to do Monday 8 a to 12 p. During this first section, I want to forward calls, and I'm going to forward first to John Davis on extension 504, and if John doesn't answer, I'm going to forward all calls to the general mailbox on extension 503. So that is the schedule for 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. I'm now going to add another schedule, the second one we've created with receive during, and I will do 12 to 4. I'm going to do another forward call. I will forward this one to Jenny Dempsey, and if she doesn't answer during that time, I will forward to the general mailbox on 503. And lastly, I'm going to add my third and final schedule. So I'll do receive during, and I'll do a 4 to 7. And this last one is going to go to myself on extension 503. And again, if I don't answer, leave voicemail on the general mailbox. And the last and final one that we always need with schedules is the all calls section, and this applies to all calls outside of those business hours. So we'll do all calls, and we'll go straight to voicemail for that. So this is a daily custom schedule. This will get you specific hours for a specific day. I could have expanded this and done Monday through Friday and set the times 8 to 12, 12 to 4, and 4 to 7. I just wanted to kind of isolate it to this one day to give you an example of how that would work. And I think this is too long to get a screenshot, but let me know if you guys want to see anything, and I'd be happy to let it sit on that page. All right, so that was it for the advanced schedule setup. I hope you guys enjoyed all those scenarios, and hopefully it gives you some inspiration for your own setups on your phone.com account. We're going to jump into the Q&A now. If I do not answer your question, I would highly encourage you to reach out to our support team. We have 24/7 phone support at our 800 line, and also email and Twitter support.